Hey there, it's Lisa Danforth. Welcome to Sustainable Leadership Live. I am your host, and today I am here with my dear friend, amazing Chaos Coordinator, MacGyver-like entrepreneur, Julie Goodall from Genesis Consulting, and we're going to be talking about automating, delegating, how we can do that. Just because you're in business by yourself does not mean you need to do it all by yourself. Julie, I say, let's jump right in.
Let's do it. Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah, I can't wait for you to share all that you have. I mean, your systems, your brain just operates in this wonderful, unique way. Kind of freaks me out, but it's okay.
Somebody's got to do it.
But my first question is going to be this. What stops people? You work with a lot of business owners, a lot of entrepreneurs. What is the thing that stops most people from automating and delegating, systematizing, whatever it is? Like, what is that block?
I think it might be twofold. At least for me, it was. I would say the first is that, and you know this firsthand, when it's your business, it's a little like your baby.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just, you care about it in a different way than you do when you work for somebody else. When you work for somebody else, you might care about your role, want the company to succeed, but it's not yours. And so I think when it's your blood, sweat, tears, your dream, it's a really hard thing to hand off and trust that somebody else is going to care for it like it's their own. Just like you don't hand your baby to random people and go, hey, you look good on paper, you've got a resume, you vet them.
I'll be back in 24 hours. Good luck.
Exactly. So I think it's a very personal thing. While we're talking business, when it's your business, it is personal. And that's just really, really hard to let go of. And I think the other part, and it took me a really long time to not so much admit it, but accept it. I've always thought of myself as somebody that doesn't have an ego, that I'm pretty humble. And I kept finding myself saying, well, nobody else can do this piece of the business. This has to be me, and I would say that, and I didn't think anything of it. And one day I paused, because my fabulous business coach told me to pause, right? There's power in the pause. And I went, is that true? Yeah. Can nobody else really do that thing? Like, are you really the only person on the planet that can do that thing? And of course, the answer was no. But there's work involved. You can't just hand it off. You do have to teach somebody. And I'm a control freak. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs are, like, we want control of our stuff. Right. And so I think the fact that it's personal and we want to hang on, death grip, white knuckle grip on the control, I think that's the big thing, really.
So when people are coming to you, Julie, how do you walk them through this? If they're like, no, I'm the only one that can do it, but oh my gosh, I'm buried, I need some help here. How do people start deciphering what to hand off, how much to hand off? I think that's where I've seen a lot of entrepreneurs get tripped up. And again, you work with so many, I would imagine you've experienced this dozens of times. Yeah. How do you get them started with this and feeling comfortable and confident, or at least partially?
I'm going to take yet another page out of the Lisa Danforth playbook here and say, I approach it with compassionate curiosity. So it is, I've always tried to provide a really safe space. There's a lot of guilt and shame around business ownership in different areas, a lot of the finances, which is a big part of what I do. And a lot of in running the business, there's a lot of shoulds. I should know how to do this. I should know how to market my business. I should know if I'm profitable. And so the first thing that I do is try to really foster a safe space for them to kind of take off that armor and be vulnerable, and part of that is just relating to them like, look, I'm a business owner too. I feel it. I've been there. Sometimes I'm still there and I know it's scary. But let's really unpack kind of the pain points. And the pain points almost always have to do with not enough, right? Not enough time, not enough money, not enough resources.
I'm not enough.
I'm not enough. Sure. Yeah, not enough. And obviously a lot of that's not true. I mean, yeah, sometimes not enough time, not enough money. We've all dealt with that. And so it's really figuring out at that point how to get some of that back, how to either save time, save money. Is it delegating? Is it automating? And really kind of tease apart, because when you're in it, you can't really see it, the big picture. You're in it, you're reactive.
Can't read the label from inside the box.
Yeah. And so you're doing all the things and really just trying to stay afloat. But if you could pause and have more of an objective perspective and say, okay, this is what's not working. This is taking a lot of time, and kind of asking them, is that a great use of your time? I understand you're more than capable of doing X. You know how to do it. I know it's your business. I know you feel like you should do it. But is it possible that somebody or something else could do that, which would free you up to do the thing that you love, the thing that you're in business to do?
I'm hearing a lot of shoulding.
Yes.
And with the shoulding comes the shame. I should know how to do this. I know I need to do this, but I'm not. I keep kicking the can down the road. So when they're coming to you, there's probably a little bit of shame, and then creating that safe space. Here's what I'm really hearing, and what I've experienced with you is that when we need to delegate and we've got shame, like I've got to delegate, but I got this shoebox of all sorts of stuff. And I don't, so then we don't actually delegate because we don't want to go through it. I'm really hearing, get a trusted partner who creates a safe space to explore this with you. Yes, you should, but that doesn't mean the shame needs to come along. That shame keeps us silent and stuck in that same place of trying to get more done in less time, but it's just beating us up. That's where you come in. That's the chaos coordinator. That's the MacGyver-like piece of you. So this is what I really want to focus on, right? This shame can keep us just stuck.
Yep.
I don't want to show people, basically we're getting naked, right? This is how I'm operating my business.
Yep.
How does someone step forward? What is it that you're doing to invite them to say, okay, you know what? Here's all of the things that I need to delegate. I need to prioritize. Can you help me through this? Like, where do people start, Julie?
So that's where I offer a free discovery call. And the intention of that call, it's not a sales call. And I don't go into it with an agenda or with a solution in mind. It's truly a listening call. It's for them to have a space to unpack everything that they are worried about, fearful of, ashamed of, maybe even looking forward to. Sometimes people aren't in a state of overwhelm, but they're experiencing growth and they know it's coming. They know that, what I'm doing is working to this point, but here's what I see in the near future. And I want to put things in place before I get to that. And so the discovery call is just a great way we all need this, right? I mean,
safe place.
Everybody needs somebody to talk it out with, myself included. I do this all the time. But it's really talking out, because sometimes they hear themselves say something they didn't even know they were feeling until it came out of their mouth, right? And so it's figuring out what's not working for you. And then where I come in, my skill set is like, I have people, I have systems, I have platforms, I have tools to help people. Because as much as we all want to think we're truly unique in this space, if you get rid of the silence, you find that, oh my God, we've all either been there or are there. Entrepreneurship is isolating, and we're doing it ourselves, and we think everybody else is doing it better. And they're not. They might be doing certain things better, but if there's enough plate spinning, something's going to drop. You can't keep them all going. So
we're seeing the front end of their business,
yeah,
right? We're not seeing that messy, ugly back end that's got them like up at 2 a.m. Right? So that comparison is the thief of joy. I can't. Was it Teddy Roosevelt that said that? Or it's so key. So let's jump into the when, the why, and the how. Let's give the listeners some tools that they can start leaning into and playing around with.
Yeah. So the when is really individual, and it has to do with the stage of your business. When you start, you usually, not always, there's a ramping up period. And so in that beginning stage, you're working 40 hours a week, but maybe 20 is with clients. And then you've got ample time to focus on maybe your social media marketing, go to some networking events, send your invoices, answer phone calls. It all fits nicely. And then after you've experienced some growth, and again, that trajectory is different for every business. Some people, it's right out of the gate. Other people take years to get to that place. And it's all the intention of your business. Some people don't want to grow. They want to get to where it's comfortable and stay there. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
But when you hit that point, I call it the tipping point, the breaking point, the point of overwhelm. And what I listen for is, I do my invoicing on Sunday mornings, or, it's all consuming. It's like I work 7 days a week. There's no boundaries in place. I have a coach I could recommend for that, of course. But when they hit that point where it no longer fits and they're tiptoeing that burnout line and they're starting to either make mistakes, drop those balls that they've got up in the air, or you start to, I think with me, it was when I would respond to emails, I was very reactive. I would answer the question asked and nothing more. Versus if you pause, you can give a really thoughtful, proactive response. Here's the answer to your question, and here's a resource that might be helpful, or here's something to think about, or, you know what I mean? Like the quality goes down because you're just trying to whip through as fast as you can.
And with the systems in place, someone like you has all of those resources that you can simply cut and paste. Systems, automate, delegate.
And another hang up is fear of the financial commitment, right? Like people are like, I'm overwhelmed, but their first thought goes to, I need to hire somebody. And they always go to like, oh my God, that's, it's payroll and it's scary and it's 40 hours a week. And what if I can't support them? I mean, that's a big undertaking, but sometimes if you talk to someone like me who's had experience in this, we can really tease out, you don't need a person. You need better systems. What if we automate these 2 or 3 things that are taking up so much of your time, and it gives you back an hour a day? That's 5 hours a week that you get back. Would that help? And sometimes there are more robust systems that will give you more time back. Maybe it is a person that you need, but maybe the type of person that you need is a subcontractor or a VA or something other than a full-time employee. Like there are so many different options. And what I try to do is specific to the pain point is help them determine, kind of triage, if you will, what exactly they need. Do they need a system? Do they need a person? Do they need a hybrid? Do they need nothing? Maybe there's just something they're doing that's inefficient that I just can say, if you did it this way, have you tried that? If you did it this way, I can see it cutting out these unnecessary steps, and that could save you all the time you need and buy you another 3 or 6 months before you need anything.
It's that pause, right? Just, and that compassionate curiosity. Like, let's see, Donna Cravata, there goes that pause again. Love that pause, Donna. Thanks for joining us from New York. That compassionate curiosity is so huge in allowing ourselves to ask for and receive support. I find most of us, we want to do it alone. Like you said, there's some ego that comes into play. And let's admit, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, to achieve much of anything in our life, we need some portion of an ego to be able to put ourselves out there. We also need to set it aside so that we can ask for help. We cannot do it all alone. Now, I love the fact that you talked about hiring and getting a subcontractor, right? A VA, someone like yourself that can take a few pieces of those off. How do you help people prioritize, like I said, the when, the what, and the how? Can you share a little bit more tools or questions that people could utilize and take away from today?
Yeah, a big part of it is the pain point. What's causing you the most pain, right? If you've got a gunshot wound and a hangnail, maybe they both need to be addressed, but one's a little more important than the other, right? Let's cauterize the wound, let's stop the bleeding, and then we'll deal with the other stuff. So part of that is helping them prioritize, and it could be done on your own. Absolutely. And if you're doing it on your own, what I would suggest is just a brain dump on a piece of paper, or if you prefer typing, that's great too. Write out all of the things that you have to do, whether it's the daily, weekly, monthly, whether it's the random stuff. You're like, oh, I've got to add this to the website. I've got to call this person back. Get it all out of your head and in one place, and then kind of cut and paste or move, if you will. And I guess that's, maybe a reason to do it electronically, but prioritize it. Yeah. Sticky notes on a wall. I've done that, just moving them around. Whatever works for you. There's no right answer, but prioritize what really needs to be done. What would have the most impact? And, Lisa, I'm leaning into your territory here as far as like that kind of stuff goes.
We both do the same thing with that, just that it's so important to not everything matters equally. We've got to prioritize.
Exactly. There might be something that you want to do, but when you see that list, maybe updating the font on your website or updating the color, maybe it can wait, you know? But sometimes the triage does need to happen. So I've had somebody recently where, in a financial sense, they had a bunch of stuff to clean up, catch up, but they had payroll tax issues. I would prioritize that, because anything that's going to give you penalties, late fees, and generally anger the IRS is going to have to take priority.
Generally anger the IRS.
Yeah. The other stuff we can catch up on. Yes, it's important. But so if you've got something like that, if you, need a permit for something, if you've got some corporate entity, asking for things, if there's late fees, if there's stuff like that, those are going to have to take priority. And then it's the stuff that's causing you the most pain, because we want the pain to go away. We want to get you that time back. And then it's figuring out how to do that. And that goes to the latter part of your question, right? We've said, okay, here's all the stuff. It's in priority order as best I can on my own, or you meet with somebody and we've kind of prioritized it. And then the how really is determined by what's on that list. If it's, I spend all my days responding to emails, I would ask the question, are they all similar? Are you answering all these emails, but you tend to write the same things over and over? If that's the case, maybe there's a canned email, whether it's an actual application or you're creating a template in your Google or whatever. That's a whole lot easier than rewriting the same thing every time. It allows you to be thoughtful in advance, create the email that you want to send that best represents you with all of those extra tidbits, and then you're able to respond in a quality way to everybody instead of, well, the quality you get depends on how busy I am that day. We want that consistency. It's things like that. So it really depends on what we're looking at. But with the people I work with, I really try to point them in the direction of either free or cost-effective resources. There are some wonderful, expensive, robust systems out there, but a lot of the folks I work with really don't need the bells and whistles. You don't need to spend a lot of money to get your back office streamlined and automated. And I would say that's the first step.
Like Asana. I know you and I both work in Asana. So we are almost at time, which I just cannot believe it's gone so fast. Can you give some tools, whether they're in state, whether they're free or low cost, that you would recommend people to start looking into, and for what? So like Asana for project management or whatever.
Yeah.
Can you give like 3 to 5, whatever comes to your mind, just a few?
Yep. Asana would be my number one, because it's free. There is a paid version, but as you know, Lisa, the free version is
So
more
robust.
than enough for most people. I use it to not only manage my tasks, but the recurring tasks. They come up. I always joke that if Asana goes down, my business is going with it, because it literally is my whole.
I hope none of your clients are listening to this.
I know, right?
I'm just
But I have backups, obviously, but it tells me what I'm doing today. It's the first thing I do. I log in and Asana says, this is what's happening today. For each person and within my business. I can use attachments, I can set due dates, and I can delegate to other people. I've also written out standard operating procedures, and for most of them, I've created a short Loom video so that if I have to give it to somebody in a pinch, if I'm sick, my team can basically be me for a day without anything. Like they don't need it.
Can you repeat that one more time? Just because I think that is such a massive takeaway, whether it's, an SOP for anything. If you take nothing but this away, can you just repeat that?
Take the time when you're doing the task to write down every step. I use the term dummy proof. I probably shouldn't. I just mean that day where you haven't slept and there's not enough caffeine in the world to make your brain function. I want you to be able to click open that task, know what you're supposed to do, where to go, how to log in. I literally write, click next, click submit. I put in the attachment and I can watch a video showing me how to do it. If I get hit by a bus tomorrow, I have a team in place that can reassign those tasks themselves and know how to do everything I do. When it's done, nothing gets missed. And
That's beautiful.
It's critical for every business owner, because you don't know. You could get sick, a family member could get sick, or maybe you just want to travel. How nice would it be to not have to stress while you're gone and just go, nope, reassign to Susie. Susie's going to handle this.
Awesome. All right. So Asana, do you have one or two more that you would just, so that's project management. I highly recommend that as well. It's so good.
Yep. Dubsado is my other. It's a multi-purpose tool. It houses the calendaring, the canned emails I talked about. It's got contracts, proposals, e-signature, and the benefit really is in the workflow. So you can tell it when this, then this, and it really automates that back office. So if you have something like a client onboarding process, so much of it can be automated. It's a real game changer, and it's free indefinitely for up to 3 clients. So you can get in, play around with it, learn it, try it, and it doesn't cost you a thing until you're really ready to jump off.
Those two are absolutely massive. And I'm going to give Julie a little bit of a plug as well, because she actually will help get you set up. She will show you how to do it. She'll do it for you. There's so many different areas that she can help you with the Asana and Dubsado. If you just started with those two things, and it's literally systematizing things. So it's not even hiring someone, 10 hours a week or 40 hours a week. That alone, think about that. If you were taking just 5 hours a week off from your calendar that you could designate to a nap, networking, prospecting, getting caught up on your invoicing, whatever it may be, just think about how that would impact you by systematizing and automating things, those workflows. So, so very good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Julie. I have a question for you.
Sure.
What one habit or boundary has supported you in living and leading a more sustainable life, other than Dubsado and Asana?
One habit, I would say the release of control when I finally delegated.
Amen.
Nobody can do it all. Find somebody you trust, take something off. You will thank yourself. I mean, it's the best thing I ever did. I trust my team, and it gives me time to breathe and be creative and be a human being and not just a robot. Delegate.
On a scale of 1 to 10, where was the fear level or the second guessing level for when you first jumped in? I just want everyone to know what it was for you, and this is what you do for other people.
Yeah. It was a 9 or a 10. It's literally handing my baby to somebody I just met, or, even somebody that's a friend. It's like, I love you as a friend, but are you going to take care of my baby like I would, It's terrifying, and it'll always be terrifying. It does get easier with the hires, and as you have positive experiences, but it's still scary.
Scary, do it anyway. It will be a game changer, not only in your business, but in your life, and really creating that work-life alignment that you seek and doing it in a saner approach. So, Julie, thank you so much. Where can people reach out to you, contact you, connect with you, social, website, whatever?
Yeah, definitely connect with me on LinkedIn. I'd love to, connect to anybody who's listening or wants to learn more. My website, Genesis, GENESIS Consulting Corp, CORP.com. There's information on there, resources. You can connect with me on there. There's some blogs, which are really good. And you can also get on there and book that free discovery call if you do want to unpack your pain points and get some perspective.
Yeah, in a very safe space. Highly recommend that. Julie, thank you. I'm so incredibly grateful for you sharing your brilliance with the audience. And next week, October 26th, I have the fabulous Doreen Morin Van Dam. She's going to be talking about Agile and using Agile with small teams, and how, similar to you, it can just really make things go much more smoothly and effectively, getting more done in less time. So join me next week, 10 a.m. East Coast, 7 a.m. for you West Coast people. Would love to see you. And everyone have a fantastic day. Thanks so much. Whoops. And we've got I want to pop this in here. Emily Brower. All right. Watch the replay. All right. Thanks, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.